Hello, this is Dr. Jazayeri. This is my coronavirus update number 9. Today is Monday, April 13th. You know, me and my wife were walking yesterday, and usually when two people walk and one person walks the other way, they usually kind of go on the side if they don't want to pass close to us. I mean, that's pretty standard. So we were walking, we were on the phone talking to another friend of mine about this pandemic, and this woman was in her 50s. She wasn't even young, and as she passes us, she says, "Move, move, Jesus!" It's all angry, which is kind of ironic because it was Easter Sunday and she did not act like Jesus at all. And I wanted to tell her she's probably going to go to hell, but I left it at that. But people are on the edge. What can I tell you? A bunch of things going on. Now, this is from CNN. There was an article on the weekend that I think the Chinese government is trying to limit or scrutinize more research as to the origin of the coronavirus. Now, the consensus is that the virus came from bats. Everybody seems to agree with that. There was a story that the virus got transmitted to a pangolin, which is a scaled mammal, is an exotic animal, and they use a scale for medicinal purposes in China. But nobody's actually proven that. This is a little bit, again, it's a CNN. I haven't verified it with other sources, but why would they want to do that? I mean, is there really some truth to these conspiracy theories that maybe this was man-made, coming from a lab? I'm not sure why. Again, you have to think of a communist government is like a narcissistic individual. They cannot accept criticism. Narcissistic people, and they do not accept criticism, and they never say they're sorry. I've tried to convince some narcissistic people to say that, to accept their mistakes, but they just won't allow that. There's somebody like that runs a major country who's narcissistic, but I can't remember his name. But anyhow, you know who I'm talking about. If there's more to that, I don't know. And then there's that book that came out 20 years ago. I think it was written by Dean Koontz, about this Wuhan 400 virus coming from Wuhan, China. I mean, if these conspiracy theories are true, why would the writer who lived in, I believe he lived in Laguna Beach, I mean, why would he know about that? I mean, the whole thing gets really weird. Anyhow, that's some juicy gossip for you. Hopefully we'll learn more about that. But as you know, the backlash against China still continues. Now there was this report that they were mistreating some African travelers, and if you look at over the past few years, if you look at the data, the labor costs in China has gone up by 8.5%. So currently, the yearly income of a laborer in China is about between 13 and 14,000, which is 8.5 times more than what it was, I think, 20 years ago. So people are slowly taking their manufacturing out of China, and also with this pandemic and all this stuff going on with China hacking into this and that. It's, again, I don't know what China's long-term plan is, but they're currently still number one in terms of manufacturing. But if you look at a lot of clothes, for example, are now made in Vietnam. A lot of cell phones now are being made in India. And also Mexico, believe it or not, they think is going to be the next kind of superpower. But it's still going to take about 20 years to get to the point where they can compete with China. But I hope the Chinese government realizes, hopefully they'll change some of their ways. We'll see. But I'm really excited. If you have listened to my videos, I've been talking about nobody's looking at vaping in these young patients especially. And there was just in Yahoo News, there was an article came out about vaping in young children, in younger patients is dangerous. And this is from a professor of pediatrics at, I believe, North Carolina, University of North Carolina. So, I mean, reputable major university. And in the article, they were talking about a 22-year-old young patient who was completely healthy and was doing really bad. And then they found out that he was vaping. You remember, I keep asking everybody, are these young patients vaping? And nobody's talking about it. So I'm really excited that finally somebody's paying attention to vaping as a serious potential added morbidity if you get the coronavirus. So please stop vaping or smoking or anything that affects your lungs. You know, asthma, all of that, you got to get them under control. The other news that I have is the CDC also gave out some more data. And basically, and this is, they looked at all the data in the world. This is the entire world and 14 states in the United States. So this was a major, study. They covered a lot of patients. And their finding was that 90%, so 9 out of 10 patients who, get really sick and die from COVID-19 have comorbidities. So this is, really important finding. The interesting thing for me was between the 18 and the 49 age group, so this is the younger age group, almost 60% of them were obese. So yes, obesity does affect your health. And so hopefully if you're thinking of having a healthy lifestyle, maybe this will scare you enough to do that. But again, because I've been talking about confounding variables, because again, I've always agreed with CDC's the way it's presenting the data, because it's very neutral. And the CDC from day one said that most patients get mild to moderate symptoms and they recover, and the patients that do not do well are older or have comorbidities, and this definitely proves it. As we expect, the older patients, most of them had hypertension, a lot of them had diabetes. It's in a way it's good to know that if you're healthy, your risk of dying from this disease is even less. But I was talking to a CEO of a hospital that I've known for many years. He runs a hospital in North California, so in the wine country area, in San Luis Obispo, that area. And I was asking him about the coronavirus, and he said, yeah, we've had some patients, but a lot of them, again, even the younger ones have issues, they have diabetes or something. And even the healthier ones, when they looked at them, they had, something that was affecting the lung. So there was a male in his 50s who passed away, and but he did the job that he had. He was healthy, but the job that he had exposed him to a lot of dust and chemicals and this and that. So that lung was compromised. Again, it goes back to what I've been talking about and what the CDC has confirmed. But what concerned me and made me think, he said that, Mike, I don't know if I can ever go to a sporting event or any concert, anywhere where there's a lot of people. I'm in my mid-60s and, I just don't want to risk it. And so it made me think, well, what's going to happen, after all of this? If you look at Warren Buffett, for example, I'm sure most of you have heard of him. He's the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, the most expensive stock in the world. I think it's like $20,000 a share. He still lives in his parents' house, I think in Omaha, I believe in Nebraska. Every morning his breakfast is McDonald's, and based on the stock market, he buys like something that's a little less expensive if the market is down, or more expensive, like I said, it's $1 difference. And he's worth almost $90 billion. So to give you an idea how much is $1 billion, not even 90 billion, if I had $1 billion, if I spend $1 million a year, it will take me 1,000 years to spend $1 billion. So if I had $90 billion, it will take me 90,000 years to spend that money. So, why is he so frugal? Well, he was born in 1930. If you remember, the Great Depression started in 1929 and lasted 10 years. So he was raised as a child during that depression, and I'm sure that affected him. So, how are we going to act? How are our children going to act in this environment? Are they going to be, we're already having this electronic isolation before this pandemic with our, cell phones like that all the time. People text, they never talk. And now we're going to be afraid of doing anything, touching, hugging. It's kind of a shame, that's why even animals do that. They hug, they share, so I don't know what's going to happen. Sporting events. What if people don't want to go until there's a vaccine? Well, that vaccine could take 12 to 18 months. What's going to happen with the NFL, the NBA, MLB, the NBA? These are our national sports. Are they going to last? Are they going to go under? Is the government going to bail them out? I've never heard of a government ever bailing out sporting organizations, but what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the restaurants? You have to wear a mask. You can't you have to take off your mask to eat. So these are all questions that, I worry about, and I think what's going to happen eventually, if you look at Germany and Holocaust, right? The Germans clearly remember the Holocaust, and they want everybody to remember it. They have museums, they have everything, especially in the major cities, Berlin, for example. But there are Jews living there. The Jews don't stay home and hide. So everybody's living their lives, but they remember things, and they remember the past because they don't want to make the same mistake again. So maybe that's what's going to happen. The concern that I have is if everybody or most of us start having really bad OCD. Remember, if we clean the environment around us too much, that's not good either, especially for the children. There's a lot of data. Children that are raised in third world countries have less asthma and allergies than children in cleaner countries, because we need some exposure to dust and bacteria and dirt and stuff to build up our immunity. If we go the other way, we're just going to have more problems down the line. So I hope we don't go out of balance with cleanliness. I want to go back and again talk about the mask issue, because if you go out without a mask anywhere, they want to crucify you, which is, but I understand, psychologically it makes you feel better, but again, the CDC has still maintained that there's no data to show that this airborne is a way of catching this virus. They still believe that it's human-to-human contact. Again, keep in mind, if you do wear a mask, basically if you cough or sneeze, because those are large droplets, it is just catching a lot of them in your mask, so most of it stays inside. But if you think you're protected, you're really not protected. If somebody coughs at you or sneezes at you without a mask, you're going to get some of that stuff in you, and you're probably going to catch the coronavirus. Even the N95 masks, again, they only filter up to 95%. The problem with those masks are, well, first of all, I forgot to tell you, I did some research on these masks because they're so tight and they filter a lot. There's a lot of data, if you do wear these long term, that you're going to have a problem with oxygen CO2 exchange, and it's going to work your heart more. So keep that in mind. You can't wear these for many, many hours. And these masks have to be disposed after 24 hours. Now in the hospitals, they have a method of reprocessing them. So there is a bin where you drop them in there. But if you're wearing them after 24 hours, the filter is filled, just like your air conditioner filter. So, the same thing with any mask. As you breathe, it filters, and after a while it's clogged. Okay, so, just remember, you kind of have to wear the mask as peer pressure, I guess. But don't think it's going to do anything for you. Now, if you're coughing and sneezing, well, you should stay home. That's the whole, don't come out whether you're wearing a mask or not. And if you definitely come out without a mask and cough and sneeze, people are just going to crucify you. And again, Easter Sunday was yesterday, so there you go. I'm linking that to this one. Um, so, um, so let's see. Oh, the other important thing, I've been talking about. I think that the social isolation should go until end of May. I know in California, the governor has extended social isolation to May 15th. And I'm glad he's doing that. I think it's going to go until end of May. I think we just have to wait a little bit longer because we don't want to have another wave. There was another thing in the news I forgot about China now getting another surge of COVID-19 patients because of people coming from other countries. So I think they closed their borders again and they're looking at these people. So we don't want to have another surge because then we're gonna again go into isolation. The economy is already on the verge; it's gonna collapse. And then if we go into another isolation and start back again, now we're going into fall, and if the weather gets cold, again, a lot of experts think that this virus is gonna linger on and become kind of seasonal, like a flu. The good thing again, the virus mutates very slowly, and the vaccine against it should last many years. But I rather just tough it out, and I know it's hard. It's really hard for me to believe it, especially financially. To try to just stop it now rather than just having these episodes and just drag it and then going to fall. So I covered a lot today. I hope you got something out of it. Be safe. Again, wash your hands before you touch your face. The virus gets in your body through these holes that we have on our face, primarily. So, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.